In this video, we are back in Seattle, Washington to try out a cocktail bar called The Doctor's Office. So please join us as we check out the space and try some of their cocktails, including some bespoke made-to-order ones to see if this spot is worth you giving a visit. Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're still in Seattle, Washington, and we're going to check out a cocktail bar I've been wanting to try for some time now called The Doctor's Office. Now, The Doctor's Office was opened by an actual doctor in February 2020 named Matthew Powell, and it's also co-owned by Keith Waldbauer. And they've gotten well known for their fantastic bottle list as well as their really good bespoke made-to-order custom cocktails. So, is it worth the hype? Well, let's go check it out. But what are people saying about it online? Well, on Yelp, they have 4.5 out of 85 reviews, and on Google, 4.3 out of 226. So those are pretty good reviews. Now, what are some of the reviews saying? Well, people love the ambience, the service, and the cocktails. They also like the atmosphere, say it's very intimate. On the negative side, some people point out that the cocktails are pre-batched, which they don't like, and they also say that the service wasn't as attentive as it could have been, so they didn't like that as well. Well, are the negative reviews right, or are the positive? Let's head on in and check it out for ourselves. Now, grabbing our assigned seat at the bar, I really love the little touches. When you first come in, they give you a sample of some champagne or sparkling wine. Then they give you some either hot or cold towels, depending upon the weather, which is fantastic and really refreshing. Now, their menu is on a QR code, and so I can't show it to you here. However, I recommend checking it out on their website. It's really cool. And since the owner is a doctor, they actually have the grams of alcohol on it, so you can watch how much you drink and watch your health so you don't overdrink. For my first drink, I got the long story short. This is definitely a martini-style cocktail with a tropical spin. The passion fruit pops right away, adding brightness and sweetness, but not too sweet. You can taste the gin clearly, then the agricole rounds it out with a soft, earthy edge. It's structured, refreshing, and really fun variation on a martini, especially perfect for hotter weather. However, I love this drink so much I would drink it all year round. Now, my wife got the 6 agave Sazerac, and it was incredible. With 4 mezcals, 1 tequila, and raicilla, it layers smoky richness, crisp agave brightness, and that funky floral lift from the raicilla into a Sazerac frame. The result was a drink that will definitely go into the Hall of Fame category as one of the best drinks I have had. Truly an epic and unique Sazerac variation. So for our next round, we decided to go off menu. Now, my wife wanted something low ABV, and boy did he deliver on that. He made a cocktail with a base of Madeira port, aged 5 years, then gave it some apple brandy for a backbone, and then added some spiced pear liqueur, which gave it this nice, almost apple/pear pie vibe with some baking spice in there. Really rich, deep. I'm normally not a low ABV cocktail kind of guy, but this drink, you couldn't tell it was low ABV. It was fantastic. I definitely would have it again. Now, for my drink, he used a base of Rittenhouse rye whiskey, and he supplemented it with a spiced pear liqueur and the yellow chartreuse. And boy, was that a great combination. The spiced pear liqueur gave it almost like a pear cake kind of vibe, and then it was enhanced by the almost honey notes from that yellow chartreuse, and then the black walnut bitters really added to that holiday spice pear cake flavor of this cocktail. This drink was incredible. For my final drink, I asked for something that was smoky and had pineapple, and boy did he deliver. This cocktail is truly unique. Smoky Ardbeg, bright Coqui Americano, and citrusy Arancello Rosso sound almost too contrasting, but they went together really well. The pineapple added a lush tropical sweetness, while the chocolate bitters added depth and warmth. It's really hard to describe how the drink tasted. The best I can say is imagine someone sitting in a leather chair by a smoky fireplace, but they're on a tropical island and someone is cooking pineapple over that smoky fireplace. Sounds weird, but it actually worked so well and blew me away. What was even more incredible was he came up with it on the spot based on my brief description. Well, looks like we are all done and it's time to head out. So what are the positives, neutrals, and negatives of this bar? Well, for the positives, we have the cocktails, bespoke experience, the service, and finally the atmosphere. For the neutrals, we have the minimal to no food, deposit, pre-batching, and reservation only. Now let me go into a little more detail on these. Now when they first opened, they had these charcoal grilled meat skewers on the menu. However, these are no longer there. So even if you see pictures of them and reviews online, they don't serve those anymore. All you can get for food is a cheese and meat board. So just be aware of that. Also, they do require a deposit when you book a reservation. It's $25 a person. However, that is taken off your final bill, so I didn't really find that to be too much of a big deal, and they did take it off. I checked. Now, they do pre-batch all their menu drinks, and I'll address that in a moment when we go over the reviews from online. Also, they are reservation only. That was the final neutral. Now, some people really don't like that. They like to be able to walk in. However, this is such a small space, only 12 seats. It's very intimate, so I completely understand them being reservation only. Also, I did see some people walk in, and while they weren't given seats, they were told times that there were open slots that they could come back during. So always be sure, just to be safe, that if you're planning to come here, you make a reservation. Now, as for negatives, we didn't really find any, so that space is blank. So now let's address the negative reviews that we saw online. Now, the two complaints that were mentioned the most were the pre-batching of the menu drinks, and also that people felt the service was not friendly, inattentive, or even rushed. Now, to address the pre-batching first, as you can tell from many of my videos, for the most part, I'm neutral on pre-batching. However, more and more lately, I've leaned a bit to the negative on pre-batching because right now in New York City, it's being done so much. In fact, I would say 90% of the cocktail bars I'm going to pre-batch almost all of their drinks, or at least a large portion of them. So I feel like it's being a bit overdone right now. However, in the case of the doctor's office, I understand completely why they pre-batch, and it makes perfect sense for them. Every time we've been there, they have only had one person working, the bartender. Yet they also specialize in bespoke made-to-order cocktails. So you can imagine that if they had to mix all of the drinks on the menu, as well as make drinks made to order, one single bartender would most definitely be overwhelmed. So it makes perfect sense for them to have all the menu drinks pre-batched. That way when people order some drinks from the menu, they can be made quickly, allowing the bartender to focus on the bespoke drinks and put the majority of time into that. And this actually fits what they used to say in the website, though they have since revamped the website and removed that. What they recommended was to start with a drink or two on the menu and then go off menu and order one of their custom bespoke cocktails. So in a situation like this where you have only one bartender as well as a decent sized menu with over 20 drinks if you include the classics, I completely understand why they pre-batch the menu drinks and I have no issue with it. Additionally, the drinks were fantastic, which is the most important part. Now to address the second complaint, which was the poor or inattentive service. We visited twice, and both times we had absolutely no issue with unfriendly or inattentive service. The bartender not only gave us his full attention, but additionally, he explained each drink to us in detail, especially the bespoke cocktails. However, this is not to minimize other people's experiences. I will say that both times we visited, it was on a slow day, and we also had the same bartender. So I can't completely discount what was said in these reviews since some people may have come at a busier time or had different bartenders and servers. That being said, we can only review our own experience, and ours was really positive. So what are our final thoughts on the doctor's office? Well, I have to say that both of us felt that this was an incredible bar. In fact, it's one of the best bars we've been to in the United States. This is how much we enjoyed the drinks at this place. I think what made us enjoy the doctor's office so much was the incredible bespoke experience. In New York, over the years, I've been to some legendary bars. One of my all-time favorites, the legendary Milk and Honey, either pioneered or at least was one of the first to have the bartender's choice and bespoke cocktail experience, not even having a menu. That legacy is still carried on by bars such as Attaboy, Dutch Kills, or Little Branch, just to name a few who have either small menus or no menus at all. To be clear, I love these bars. However, rarely these days do they actually make you a truly bespoke cocktail like we got at the doctor's office. While they may have done this years ago, nowadays the bartenders will pull from a database of drinks and find a drink that matches your description. In fact, a few times I've seen bartenders look on their phone searching for something that matches what I said. What makes the doctor's office so special is they create something truly unique for you on the spot. Now, I'm sure sometimes they pull from drinks that have already been made for others. However, of the bespoke drinks we ordered, 3 of the 4 we were told were his first time making them. Additionally, placing the bottles behind the drink as you saw was such a nice touch. I've never been to another bar that did that. He also gave us little tastes of some of the ingredients separately if they were unfamiliar to us, so we could see how they fit into the cocktail. This was truly an enjoyable and intimate cocktail experience. So if I was someone who lived in Seattle, then absolutely this would be on my regular list. This is a must visit, not just for the cocktails, but they also have an amazing spirits collection, reaching over 1,000 bottles. Now, if you are a tourist visiting Seattle, then this bar is an absolute must visit. It should be at the top of your list. Just be aware that they do not serve citrus drinks, and you absolutely should get a reservation. Do not leave it up to chance and try to walk in. It is very difficult to walk in due to its small size, only 12 seats. Also, pro tip, try to sit at the bar if at all possible, and if you can come on a slower day, that's even better as you'll get more time and attention from the bartender. Well, those are our final thoughts on the doctor's office. We hope you enjoyed this video. Please let us know what you think or if you have any questions or thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please click like, subscribe, and that bell icon so you get notified of new videos, and most importantly, always drink responsibly. Thank you for watching, and please join us again on Boozy Explorers.